I ignored my own #1 real estate rule, and it turned into my worst nightmare. This is embarrassing, but I'm gonna tell you what happened. We were in a crazy bidding war for what we thought was our dream house. The house is located in Delaware, where I'm not licensed. It felt like the perfect house. Exactly the right size, exactly the right location, everything. But there was one huge catch. The seller would not allow pre-inspections. Our realtor told us, if you add an inspection contingency, you'll lose it. There's no way they'll accept our offer if you ask for one. I tell my clients every single day, never skip an inspection. It's literally my #1 rule. But in that moment, I ignored my own advice. Against everything I believe in, we decided to trust our realtor and waive the inspection. I remember that feeling right after we won the offer. We were so excited. We felt like we had beaten the competition, and for about an hour, we were on cloud 9. Even before we wrote the offer, I noticed something. The house had this weird smell, and I don't mean just like a little musty. It smelled off. Deep down, I knew that something wasn't right. But when I mentioned it to our realtor, she just brushed it off. She just said, oh, that's just a vacant house smell. Nobody's been here for a while. Once you open all the windows, it'll be fine. I wanted to push back. I wanted to insist on just a short inspection contingency period, but I didn't. And honestly, that's on me. Maybe if I had pushed harder, we wouldn't have gotten the house. But maybe also we would have saved ourselves so much pain. An hour after we closed, we finally did the inspection. Yes, after we owned the house. I remember sitting on the curb, on the street, in front of the house, just crying as the inspector went through the list. And that list felt endless. It was like watching my biggest nightmare come to life in real time. Every single item just felt like another punch in the gut, proving that actually my worst fears were actually coming true. Imagine what your worst thing you can think of about a house would happen. First, mold in the attic. The seller had crammed so many boxes and random stuff up there that we couldn't see anything during the walkthrough. The crawl space, you guessed it, more mold. And to top it off, there was just like a dead mouse lying there, which honestly is a nightmare in itself. The roof, from the street, the roof looked pretty good. But guess what? It was 31 years old, and unbelievably, there was another roof built on top of it. The inspector explained that this is done sometimes to save money, instead of tearing off the old roof. But it traps moisture, causes leaks, and creates a host of new problems. The primary bathroom had leaks everywhere. I honestly have no idea how these people ever showered in this bathroom. Water damage was hidden behind the walls, which we didn't discover until we started opening things up. Then there were the air ducts. They were so dirty and full of debris, and quite frankly, at this point, I didn't trust anything, that we had to get them cleaned and sanitized before I would even think about living in this house. The fireplace, completely unsafe. We had to repair it, install a gas line, and add a propane tank just to make it functional. There were so many other smaller repairs, random little leaks, electrical issues, some floor damage. Every time we thought we were done, something else popped up. And the cost, and this is truly horrifying, we ended up spending over $50,000 just to make this house livable. Not to make it pretty or updated, just to make it livable and safe. On top of all that, we were stuck dealing with an HOA. And if you know me and if you watch my videos, you know I always tell people to avoid HOAs if you can. But here I was, stuck in one. We had to submit a request to replace our ugly brown roofs, and I say roofs because remember, there are 2 of them. And it took the HOA 2 weeks just to give us a response. Meanwhile, we have water literally leaking everywhere, and that mold is continuing to grow. Every day that passed, we risked more damage. I just kept asking myself, how is this possible? How is this even allowed? The frustration was unreal. During that time, I felt completely defeated. The house felt like it was cursing us. It was supposed to be our dream house, and instead, it was turning into a complete nightmare that was draining us emotionally, financially, and physically. I had so many sleepless nights where I just lay awake replaying everything in my mind. But how did I, out of all people, let this happen? I questioned my judgment so deeply that I started losing my confidence, not only as a homeowner, but to be brutally honest, also as a professional. I hated this house. I regretted buying it so deeply that I started imagining just selling it immediately and taking the loss. And honestly, I hated my realtor. She's actually a really good friend of mine, but in these moments, I was cursing her under my breath every single day. I never actually told her any of this. She knew about all the repairs and things that were wrong with the house, but I didn't tell her how much I actually hated her at this moment. But I felt like she pushed us so hard, and I was angry with myself for listening. After months of nonstop repairs and fights with the HOA and bills that felt endless, I was at my lowest point. But then, slowly, things started to change. We finished the major repairs. The mold was all remediated and gone. The roof was finally new. The leaks were fixed. The air felt clean. I can tell you, it's probably the cleanest, most sanitized house you'll ever walk in at this point. Fireplace worked. The bathroom no longer flooded every time we took a shower. We started moving in a little bit, piece by piece. We put up some furniture, and we set up the kitchen, and finally spent our first real night there. Little by little, it started to feel like home. The same house that had been a thorn in my side for months started to finally feel like a safe haven. Remember, this is supposed to be our dream home, our retirement home, a place to get away, to get out of the DC area. We'd walk through the rooms and actually smile instead of cringe. Today, I can honestly say that we absolutely love this house. It feels like ours in a way that I can't even describe. It was always my dream to buy a house in the beaches of Delaware. And to see this dream actually come true, it's almost surreal, and I pinch myself. And I no longer curse my realtor under my breath. I actually forgave her and myself. But I will never forget that pressure that we did feel when she kept telling us and pushing us to waive this inspection. It was awful. And it went against everything that I felt. It went against everything that I sensed about the smell in the house. We just felt really, really pressured. And we listened to her, and yes, we got the house. And maybe if we put an inspection in there, maybe we wouldn't have got it. Which would have been better? I don't know at this point. It's kind of hard to look back. Because here's the thing. I've been a realtor for 23 years. I've helped hundreds and hundreds of people buy homes. I've guided clients through bidding wars, intense negotiations, tough inspections, and every curveball this market can throw at you. This experience forced me to confront something I now talk about with my clients all the time: the enormous pressure that buyers feel. The fear of losing a house can make even the smartest, most experienced people ignore red flags. Even someone like me, who's been in the business for decades and preaches trust your gut every single day, can fall into this trap. Since this happened, I've shared my story with clients who were considering waiving the inspection to win the house. I tell them exactly what happened to me. The smell I ignored, the moment on the curb where I was just crying, I couldn't even stop the tears. They just kept coming down as that inspector kept going through the list. The mold, the mouse, the roof, the $50,000 in unexpected repairs, the sleepless nights, and the fights with that HOA. Now you guys may be thinking, if you watch my videos, I did do a video recently on how to spot a junk house in 5 minutes. But here's the thing. In this particular house, the roof, it looked new, or at least in really good condition from the street. Who knew there was an original, old, rotted roof underneath it? An inspection is priceless with a licensed inspector. Even a pre-inspection, where you inspect the house before you write the offer. It's the same set of eyes on the same house. In this case, we asked to do one, but the sellers wouldn't allow it, which should have been another red flag because the house was vacant. Every time I share my story, my clients, they do pause. They really think about it. Some decide to walk away. Some decide to keep a short inspection contingency, even if it means risking the deal. I realize that my job isn't just about getting people the house. It's also about protecting them from their future selves, from that pain and regret that can haunt them for years. This experience, as awful as it was pretty bad, made me a stronger agent. It made me more empathetic and more patient and more protective. I truly understand the fear of missing out, and I understand just how hard it is to say no when you're so emotionally invested. But I also know how devastating it can be to say yes to the wrong house. So the lessons I learned, they are forever burned into my brain. First, trust your gut. Always. Period. End of story. If something smells weird, there's probably a reason. And in this case, there were a lot of reasons. Second, never skip an inspection. Ever. No house, no offer, no dream is worth the pain and money and stress that comes from skipping this crucial step. Full disclosure, we ended up borrowing money from both of our families as well as dipping into our retirement funds to pay for all these repairs. We were lucky that we could even do that. And like I said, we love this house now. And we are so happy we did, because we plan on having the house for a long, long time to come. And now it's just absolutely perfect. But not a lot of people can come up with an extra $50,000 right after closing on a house. Most people would have been completely devastated or forced to live in unsafe conditions. And third, remember, at the end of the day, you are the one living with the consequences. Not the seller, not your realtor, not anybody else, you. My last two buyer transactions were both in a multiple offer situation. So we decided to write in a quick 2-day yes or no inspection so the seller knew we wouldn't be asking for repairs or a credit after the inspection. And both times, my buyers won the house. It's all about how you structure and present the offer. Where we are here in the DC area, a lot of times sellers do allow pre-inspection. So that's another option if there's time. So if you're buying a house, especially if you're a first-time buyer, please learn from my mistakes. I share this story not to scare you, and quite honestly, hopefully I'm not embarrassing myself too much, because it took me a while to record this video. It's embarrassing. You know, I thought I would know better, and I didn't. But I'm trying to prepare you, because I promise you, sitting on the curb, crying while the inspector reads off the list of your biggest nightmares coming to fruition and facing a $50,000 repair bill is not the kind of new home experience you want to have. Today, I love my home. I really do. It was a dream of mine. And just to see it come to fruition, it's like a pinch me moment. I'm really, really happy. But I paid for that love in ways that I could have never imagined. Thank you guys for listening to my story. It was hard. It was hard to record this because I am embarrassed that this happened to me. But it's my story. It's my truth. And in this case, it does have a really happy ending. We are thrilled with this house. It is our escape. It is our getaway. It is our dream beach house. If you're ever in Delaware, come visit. I do hope it helps you guys make better decisions and protect your future home. That's what I want. That's the point of making all these videos, is to help you guys find your dream home and not regret it, but be really happy with your home. And if you did miss that video where I did say how I could spot a junk house in 5 minutes, it's definitely worth watching. In this case, it didn't help because that roof, it looked new. Who knew they'd put a roof on top of a roof? So bad, so gross. So it didn't help in this case, but it's a good 5-minute check to see about the questions that you want to ask your inspector when they inspect the house. Thanks for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!